You think success comes from working harder. You think the people who win are the ones who hustle the most. You think the secret is doing more, chasing more, sacrificing more. But you're wrong. The truth is older, quieter, and far more powerful than anything they sold you. It lives in three things: where you place your attention, what your mind silently believes, and the force you align with before you ever take a single step. There is a force that operates beneath everything you do. It decides which opportunities you notice and which ones you walk past blind. It decides whether your effort multiplies or evaporates. It moves in the silence behind your thoughts, and almost no one sees it working. I call it the anchored mind. It is the difference between the person who strains for years and gains nothing and the person who seems to attract everything with ease. Because you do not rise to the level of your effort. You rise to the level of your focus. You do not chase success. You become the kind of mind it cannot ignore. And here is what no one tells you. The person who refuses to master this force will spend their entire life building, only to watch it collapse from the inside. They will work. They will pray. They will want it desperately. And they will sabotage every breakthrough the moment it arrives, because a scattered mind cannot hold what a focused mind creates. They will blame the economy, the timing, the people around them, never knowing the leak was inside their own attention the whole time. So let me ask you something, and do not answer too quickly. What have you been giving your focus to every single day without even realizing it? Hold that question, because by the end of this, you will see your entire life differently. Let's begin where everything begins, in the mind. The Bible says in the book of Proverbs that as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. Read that slowly. It does not say as a man acts, so is he. It does not say as a man works, so is he. It says, as a man thinks. The architecture of your life is built first in the invisible. Before a single brick of your destiny is laid in the world, it is laid in your mind. And what you focus on is the blueprint you hand to God and to your own subconscious to build. Napoleon Hill spent 20 years studying the most successful people who ever lived, and he came to one conclusion that shook him. He said that whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. But notice the order. First, conceive, which is focus. Then believe, which is faith. The conceiving comes first. You cannot believe in something you have not first held in your focus long enough to make it real inside you. This is the great misunderstanding of our age. People think focus is about productivity. They think it is about getting more done in less time. But focus is something far deeper. Focus is direction for your soul. Focus is the river that carries the water of your energy. Without it, your power scatters across 1,000 small worries and never reaches the sea. Think about a magnifying glass for a moment. The sun shines on the whole earth, freely, abundantly, every single day. But that scattered light cannot start a fire. Take that same light and focus it through a single lens onto a single point, and it burns. It creates heat that scattered sunlight could never produce. Your mind is that lens. Your attention is that focal point. And most people walk through life with their lens shattered into pieces, wondering why their light never catches fire. So here is your first reflection, and I want you to sit with it honestly. If your outer life is the harvest, then your focus is the seed. Look at what surrounds you right now. Your finances, your relationships, your peace, your sense of purpose. None of it is an accident. All of it grew from seeds you have been planting in the quiet field of your attention, day after day, often without knowing. The book of Galatians tells us that whatever a man sows, that he will also reap. We love to apply that verse to actions. But it is even truer of focus. Sow worry, and you will reap anxiety. Sow scarcity, and you will reap lack. Sow fear of the future, and you will reap a present that confirms your fear. But sow vision, sow faith, sow disciplined attention on what God has called you to build, and the harvest will astonish you. Napoleon Hill called this the law of the dominating thought. He said that the subconscious mind acts upon the thought that dominates your attention, and it does not argue, it does not question, it simply obeys. Whatever you focus on most consistently, with the most emotion, becomes the standing order your deeper mind carries out while you sleep, while you work, while you walk through your day completely unaware. This is why two people can face the exact same circumstance and walk away with completely different lives. One focuses on the problem and becomes consumed by it. The other focuses on the way through and finds it. The circumstance did not decide their future. Their focus did. And I want you to understand something that will free you. You are not at the mercy of your thoughts. You are the gatekeeper. Every thought that arrives at the door of your mind is asking for entry, asking for a seat at the table of your focus. Most people let every thought in, the fearful ones, the bitter ones, the doubting ones, and then wonder why their inner world feels like chaos. But you can choose. You can decide what enters and what is turned away at the door. The Bible gives us the exact instruction in Philippians. It tells us that whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think on these things. That is not poetry. That is a command for the focus of your mind. It is the oldest mental training program in existence, written long before any modern science could explain why it works. And it does work, because of how your brain is actually built. There is a part of your mind that acts like a filter, deciding which of the millions of pieces of information around you ever reach your conscious awareness. It is constantly scanning the world for whatever matches your dominant focus. When you focus on lack, it shows you a world of lack. When you focus on opportunity, it begins showing you opportunities that were always there but invisible to you, because your filter was set to ignore them. Have you ever decided you wanted a certain car and suddenly you saw that car everywhere? The cars did not multiply. Your focus changed and your filter began revealing what was already in front of you. Now imagine setting that same filter not on a car, but on your purpose, on your breakthrough, on the version of your life that God placed in your heart as a seed. Imagine your mind scanning every day, every conversation, every moment, for the doors that lead toward it. That is the anchored mind beginning to wake up. And here is something most people never grasp about how this filter works. It does not respond to what you say you want. It responds to what you actually focus on. You can stand in the mirror every morning and announce that you want abundance. But if your mind spends the rest of the day rehearsing what you fear, scanning for what could go wrong, replaying old losses, then your filter is set to scarcity no matter what your lips declared. The mind obeys your attention, not your announcements. It watches where your eyes truly rest, and it builds the world to match. This is why so many people pray for one thing while focusing on another, and then wonder why heaven seems silent. They ask for provision while focusing on debt. They ask for healing while rehearsing every symptom. They ask for peace while marinating in worry. Their prayer points one direction and their focus points the other, and the focus always wins, because focus is the deeper prayer, the one you pray continuously beneath your words, with the full force of your attention. What you behold, you become. What you stare at, you summon. The question is never whether your mind is creating. The question is only what it is creating, and whether you chose it. Napoleon Hill put it in words that have outlived him by decades. He said that you are the master of your fate and the captain of your soul, because you have the power to control your thoughts, not your circumstances, not other people, not the economy or the weather or the past. Your thoughts. That is the one kingdom over which you were given complete dominion, and it happens to be the kingdom from which every other kingdom in your life is governed. Master that one, and you master everything downstream of it. Neglect it, and everything downstream falls into the hands of whoever or whatever captures your attention. So understand the weight of this. Your attention is the most valuable thing you possess. It is more valuable than your time, because time spent with scattered attention produces nothing, while time spent with focused attention produces everything. It is more valuable than your money, because money follows focused attention, the way water follows the channel that has been dug for it. Guard your attention as the treasure it is, because the whole world is conspiring to spend it for you, and most people hand it over for free all day long to anyone who asks. If something inside you is stirring right now, if you can feel that this is speaking to a place in you that has been waiting, do something simple. Write in the comments, right now, the words, "My focus creates my future." Do not just read it. Write it. Because the act of declaring it begins to set your filter, begins to give your subconscious a new standing order, and it tells the people walking this same path that they are not alone. That single act plants a seed in soil you cannot see. Now let us go deeper, because there is an enemy of focus and you must learn to recognize it. The enemy is not laziness. The enemy is distraction dressed up as activity. It is being busy with everything and committed to nothing. It is touching 100 things and finishing none. The scattered person looks productive on the outside, while their power leaks out in every direction on the inside. The Bible warns about this in the book of James. It says that a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. Read that. Unstable in all his ways. Not some ways. All of them. The divided mind cannot build because it tears down with one hand what it builds with the other. It commits in the morning and doubts by night. It plants a seed on Monday and digs it up on Tuesday to check if it is growing, and then it wonders why nothing ever takes root. Napoleon Hill discovered the same principle and gave it a name. He called it definiteness of purpose. He said that the starting point of all achievement is a single, burning, clearly defined aim that the mind refuses to abandon. He found that every great person he studied had this one thing in common. They were not more talented. They were not luckier. They were more focused. They had decided what they wanted with such clarity that their entire being organized itself around it. Most people never decide. They drift. They want a little of this and a little of that. And so their focus is spread so thin that it cannot generate the heat to start anything on fire. They are the scattered sunlight, warm but never burning. So I want you to do something in this moment. I want you to think of the one thing, not 10 things, one. The one aim that, if you achieved it, would change the entire trajectory of your life. Maybe it is a business. Maybe it is healing a relationship. Maybe it is freedom from a debt that has chained you for years. Maybe it is finally becoming the person you have been afraid to become. Let it rise in your mind right now. See it. Because here is the truth that Napoleon Hill staked his entire life's work on. The moment you fix your focus on one definite aim with faith and emotion behind it, you activate forces that begin to organize the entire universe around that aim. Opportunities you could not see become visible. People you needed to meet begin to appear. Ideas arrive in the quiet moments like gifts. This is not magic. This is the law of focused attention, the same law that the scriptures described thousands of years ago when they said that the Lord directs the steps of the one whose way is committed to him. Commitment, that is the word. The committed mind and the wandering mind live in two completely different universes, even when they walk the same streets. Now, sit with this reflection for a moment. Think of a time in your life when you were truly focused. Maybe it was preparing for something that mattered deeply. Maybe it was the early days of a love or a dream when your whole being was pointed in one direction. Remember how alive you felt. Remember how doors seemed to open. That was not coincidence, that was the anchored mind, and you have lived it before, even if you forgot how you did it. The tragedy is that most people only access that focus by accident, in moments of crisis or passion, and then lose it again. But what if you could choose it? What if focus was not something that happened to you, but something you built on purpose, like a muscle, like a discipline, like a sacred practice? That is exactly what the rest of this journey will give you. But before we go further, you need to see clearly what the scattered life actually costs, because most people never count the price until it is too late. The scattered mind does not announce itself. It does not feel like failure in the moment. It feels like motion, it feels like effort, it feels day to day as if you are doing all the right things. And that is precisely what makes it so dangerous. A person can spend 10 years in constant motion and arrive nowhere, exhausted, wondering how they worked so hard for so little, never realizing that motion without focused direction is just running in place at high speed. Consider two people who begin at exactly the same place, with the same talents, the same opportunities, the same amount of time in each day. The first scatters their focus. Each morning, they chase whatever feels urgent. They begin a project and abandon it when something shinier appears. They give their attention to every interruption, every notification, every passing worry. At the end of a year, they have 100 half-finished things and nothing complete. At the end of 10 years, they have a life of fragments. They are busy, they are tired, and they are stuck, and they cannot understand why because they work so hard. The second person anchors their focus on one clear aim. Each morning, they return to the same direction. They finish what they begin. They turn away the interruptions that do not serve the aim. They water the same seed day after day, refusing to dig it up to check on it. At the end of a year, they have real progress, something built, something rooted. At the end of 10 years, they have a life, not a pile of fragments, but a structure, a harvest, a thing that compounds and grows. The difference between these two lives was never talent and never effort. The first one may have worked even harder. The difference was focus. The difference was direction. The difference was the willingness to point the light at one place long enough to start a fire. The Bible gives us a sharp picture of the scattered person. It says they are like a wave of the sea, blown and tossed by the wind, and that such a person should not expect to receive anything from the Lord. Read that again. Should not expect to receive anything. Not because heaven is withholding, but because the wave cannot hold what it is given. It is moved by every wind, carried in every direction, never still long enough for anything to take root. The double-minded person is not punished. They are simply unable to receive because reception requires the steadiness that focus provides. So I want you to count the cost honestly. Where has your scattered focus already cost you? What did you begin that you never finished? Not for lack of ability, but for lack of sustained attention. What dream sits unwatered right now in the soil of your mind, slowly dying, not because it was impossible, but because your focus drifted to 100 lesser things? This is not to condemn you. It is to wake you, because the same scattered energy that built a life of fragments can be gathered, redirected, and pointed at one aim. And the gathering can begin in the very next moment you choose. Let us talk about the inner battle, because this is where most people lose. The Bible says in the book of Romans, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Transformed, not improved a little, not patched up. Transformed, completely changed from the inside. And the mechanism it gives for that transformation is the renewing of the mind. Renewing means making new again, returning to a state, refreshing what has grown stale and worn down. Your mind, right now, has been shaped by years of input you never chose, the fears your family carried, the limitations your environment whispered, the disappointments that taught you to expect less. All of it has settled into the soil of your subconscious, and from that soil grow the automatic thoughts that run your life on a loop. You did not plant most of those seeds, but you are reaping their harvest every single day. Napoleon Hill called the subconscious the fertile garden, and he gave a warning that I want you to never forget. He said that if you do not deliberately plant the seeds you desire in this garden, weeds will grow there on their own. The garden does not stay empty. Nature does not allow it. If you do not consciously fill your mind with focused, faith-filled thoughts, then fear, doubt, and the noise of the world will fill it for you. There is no neutral ground in the mind. You are either cultivating or you are being overgrown. This is why focus is not optional. This is why a wandering mind is not harmless. Every moment your attention drifts to what you fear, you are watering a weed. Every moment you replay an offense, an insult, a failure, you are fertilizing something you do not want to harvest. The mind is always growing something. The only question is whether you chose it or whether it chose you. So let me give you the first practice, and I want you to actually do this, not just hear it. Tonight before you sleep, in that quiet space between waking and rest, when your conscious mind grows still and your subconscious opens like soil ready to receive, I want you to plant deliberately. Close your eyes, breathe slowly, deeply, until your body softens. And then with feeling, not just words, declare quietly to yourself, my mind is focused, my purpose is clear. I move with the strength of God toward what I am called to build. Say it slowly. Feel each word. Because the words alone are empty. It is the emotion behind them that carries them past the gatekeeper and into the deep soil where real change grows. Napoleon Hill was emphatic about this. He said that thoughts mixed with strong feeling become the dominant force the subconscious acts upon. Cold words bounce off. Felt words take root. And do this not once, but every night. Because the subconscious does not respond to occasional effort. It responds to repetition. It responds to the dripping of the same water on the same stone until the stone is shaped. A single declaration changes nothing. A declaration repeated with faith for 30 nights begins to rewrite the very foundation of how you see yourself and your life. This is the meeting place of ancient faith and the deepest truth of the mind. When the psalmist wrote that he would meditate on the law day and night, he was not describing a religious duty. He was describing a technology of focus, a method of saturating the subconscious with chosen truth until it became the dominant force of his life. Day and night, repetition, the drip on the stone. 3,000 years before anyone could measure brain waves, the wisdom was already written. Now there is a hidden multiplier in all of this that you must understand, or the practice will not work for you. The multiplier is emotion. A thought held with no feeling is like a seed dropped on concrete. It does not penetrate, it does not take root. But a thought held with deep emotion is like a seed pressed into warm, moist soil. It sinks in, it germinates, it becomes part of you. This is why two people can repeat the exact same affirmation, and one is transformed while the other feels nothing. One spoke with emotion and one spoke with their mouth alone. Napoleon Hill was unshakable on this point. He said that thoughts which are mixed with any of the feelings of emotion form a magnetic force that attracts other similar or related thoughts, and that such thoughts reach the subconscious far more readily than thoughts originating in cold reason. The subconscious, he taught, acts first and most powerfully upon thoughts that are well mixed with feeling, especially the feelings of faith, of love, and of burning desire. Strip the emotion away, and even the most positive thought passes by the deeper mind unnoticed. This is the meeting place again of ancient faith and the science of the mind. When the scriptures command us to love the Lord with all our heart, all our soul, all our mind, and all our strength, they are describing focus saturated with emotion, not a divided, lukewarm attention, but a wholehearted, fully felt devotion. The lukewarm prayer changes nothing. The fervent prayer moves mountains. The difference is not the words. The difference is the fire behind them. The book of James says it plainly, that the fervent prayer of a righteous person accomplishes much. Fervent, burning, felt with the whole being. That is focus and emotion fused into a single force. And it is the most powerful thing a human being can wield. So when you do your practices, do not do them mechanically. Do not mumble your affirmations like a tired confession. Feel them. Summon the emotion of already having what you declare. Let gratitude rise in your chest as if the thing were already done. Let the joy be real, even though the eyes cannot yet confirm it, because it is the emotion that carries the thought past the gatekeeper and into the soil. The words are the seed. The emotion is the moisture that makes them grow. And here is a powerful place to apply this, one that almost everyone neglects. The first moments after you wake are nearly as receptive as the last moments before sleep. Your mind is still soft, still close to the dream state, still open like soil before the noise of the day packs it down. Most people surrender those golden minutes immediately, reaching for their phone, pouring the world's chaos into the most fertile soil of their entire day before they have planted a single seed of their own. Do not give those minutes away. Before you reach for anything, before you let the world in, take your first conscious moments and plant. Breathe. Give thanks. Declare with feeling the focus of your day and the truth of who you are becoming. Set your filter before the world sets it for you. Aim the lens before the scattered light of the day pulls your attention in 100 directions. The person who governs the first 10 minutes of their morning governs the temperature of their entire day, and the person who governs their days governs their life. Now, you may be feeling something shift as you take this in. Maybe a part of you is recognizing how much of your focus has been stolen, scattered across screens and worries and other people's opinions. If that recognition is landing, take a breath right now and let it land fully. You cannot reclaim what you have not first noticed you lost. Let us talk about what steals focus in our time, because the thief has never been more sophisticated. Every day, Powerful forces compete for the one thing that determines your destiny, your attention. They have studied your mind. They know how to capture it, fragment it, and sell it. And while your focus is scattered across 1,000 notifications, the seed of your purpose sits in the soil, unwatered, slowly dying of neglect. The Bible speaks to this directly. It says, "Guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it." Other translations say, "Guard your heart above all else, with all diligence, for out of it are the springs of life." Guard it. That word implies a battle, a gate, a defense. It assumes there are forces trying to enter and pollute the source, and it places the responsibility squarely on you. Not on the world to be less distracting, on you to guard the gate. Napoleon Hill understood this in his own era, before any of our modern distractions existed. He warned that the average person allows their mind to be a public road, open to every stray thought, every fear, every opinion that wanders by. And he said that the person who would achieve anything great must learn to make their mind a private sanctuary, with a guard at the gate who decides what enters and what does not. He called this self-control, and he ranked it among the most important traits of every successful person he ever studied. So here is a question to reflect on, and be honest with yourself. Who has been guarding your gate? Because if you are not consciously deciding what enters your mind, then someone else is deciding for you. The algorithms are deciding. The news cycle is deciding. The fearful voices around you are deciding. And whatever they pour into the soil of your subconscious is exactly what will grow into your tomorrow. Reclaiming your focus is an act of spiritual warfare. Make no mistake about it. When you choose to direct your attention toward your purpose instead of your fears, toward faith instead of the endless noise, you are not just being productive, you are taking back the very ground on which your life is built. You are returning to the gate and standing guard again. And I want to give you a practical ritual for this, something Napoleon Hill himself practiced and recommended. He held imaginary council with the great figures he admired. Every night in his mind, he would gather the people whose qualities he wished to embody, and he would sit with them, learn from them, absorb their strength. It sounds strange until you understand what he was doing. He was deliberately choosing the influences that shaped his subconscious, rather than letting them be chosen for him. You can do the same. You can choose each day what you read, what you listen to, who you spend your time with, what you allow into the final moments before sleep. You can curate the inputs that shape your inner world the way a gardener carefully chooses what to plant. This is not about controlling everything. It is about taking back the small daily decisions that compound into the entire architecture of your mind. Because the truth that almost no one lives by is this: you become what you focus on, repeatedly, with feeling. Not what you focus on once. What you return to, what you marinate in, what you give your attention to in the unguarded moments. Show me where your mind drifts when it has nowhere it must be, and I will show you the direction your life is quietly moving. And there is one focusing force more powerful than almost any other, and it is hiding in plain sight. It is gratitude. Most people treat gratitude as a nice feeling, a polite thing to express, but gratitude is far more than that. Gratitude is the single most powerful way to redirect your focus instantly toward abundance. Because gratitude forces your attention onto what you already have, what is already working, what is already good. And the moment your focus lands there, your filter resets toward more of it. You cannot focus on lack and gratitude at the same time. They cannot occupy the same moment. Gratitude evicts scarcity simply by taking its seat. The Bible understood this long before anyone studied the brain. It tells us in everything to give thanks and to enter his gates with thanksgiving. Notice it does not say give thanks only when things are good. It says in everything. Because gratitude is not a response to good circumstances. Gratitude is a discipline of focus that creates the inner state from which good circumstances grow. The grateful mind is focused on increase, and the focused on increase mind attracts increase. The complaining mind is focused on lack, and the focused on lack mind attracts more lack. This is not sentiment, it is law. Napoleon Hill found that the most prosperous people he studied carried a deep, almost reverent sense of gratitude, and that it was not the result of their success, but one of its causes. They were grateful first, focused on the good first, expectant of increase first, and the increase followed the focus. So make gratitude a daily discipline, not a feeling you wait to feel. Each day, deliberately turn your focus to what is already good and feel the thanks rise. You are not just being pleasant. You are aiming the most powerful lens you own at abundance, and your subconscious is taking note of where you have pointed it. So, if this is reaching something real in you, take a moment and tap the like button on this video. It is a small action, but it sends a signal that this message matters, and it helps it reach someone else who is fighting the same battle for their focus. Someone who needs these exact words tonight and does not yet know they exist. Your one action becomes a door for a stranger. That is how this works. Now let us go even deeper into the relationship between focus and faith, because this is where the spiritual and the mental become one. Faith, the Bible tells us in the book of Hebrews, is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Read that carefully. Substance, evidence. Faith is not wishful thinking. Faith is a form of inner certainty so strong that it acts as substance, as the raw material from which the unseen becomes seen. And here is what connects it to everything we have said. You cannot have faith in something you are not focused on. Faith requires a fixed gaze. The moment your focus scatters, your faith dissolves with it, because faith is focused attention held steady through time, refusing to be moved by appearances. This is why a divided mind cannot believe. It cannot hold its gaze long enough for faith to form. Napoleon Hill discovered that faith was the master emotion, the one that gave power to every focused thought. He taught that you could deliberately develop faith through what he called auto-suggestion, the practice of repeating your chosen aim to your subconscious, with such consistency and emotion that the subconscious accepted it as already true. And once the subconscious accepts something as true, it goes to work to make the outer world match the inner conviction. It directs your actions, your intuitions, your instincts, all toward the thing you have come to believe with certainty. This is precisely what Jesus described when he said that if you believe you have received what you ask for in prayer, it will be yours. Notice the tense, believe you have received. Past tense. The faith comes first, the receiving second. The inner certainty precedes the outer manifestation. This is the most counterintuitive law in all of life, and it is the one the focused and the faithful learn to live by. Most people do the opposite. They wait to see before they believe. They say, "Show me the result, then I will have faith." But the law runs the other way. Faith first. Focus held steady on the unseen. Belief acted out as if it were already so. And then in time, the seen catches up to the inner conviction. This requires courage, because you must hold your focus on something the world cannot yet see. And the world will call you a fool for it, right up until the moment they call you fortunate. Let this become a reflection. Where in your life have you been waiting to see before you would believe? Where have you said, "I will focus on this once it shows signs of working"? Because that very condition is what keeps it from working. The seed must be focused on in faith while it is still underground, invisible, showing nothing. The farmer who digs up the seed to check on it kills the harvest. Faith is the willingness to keep your focus on the field even when the ground looks empty. There is a quiet strength in this that changes everything. When your focus is anchored in faith, you stop being shaken by circumstances. The bad news does not collapse you. The delay does not break you. The opinions of others do not move you, because your gaze is fixed on something deeper than the surface of the moment. The psalmist described this person as a tree planted by streams of water, whose leaf does not wither, who bears fruit in season. The tree is not anxious about the drought, because its roots have reached the water that others cannot see. That is the anchored mind in its fullest form, rooted, steady, drawing from a source beneath the surface of circumstance. Fruitful in its season, not because conditions were perfect, but because it was anchored when the storms came. Now, I want to give you a deeper practice, a visualization, and I want you to engage with it fully. Find a quiet moment. It can be now, if you can close your eyes safely, or tonight before you sleep. Breathe slowly until your body settles, and then build a picture in your mind, not a vague wish, but a detailed scene of the life your focus is meant to create. See yourself there. See the place you live. Feel the texture of the peace you carry. Watch yourself move through a day in which your purpose is fulfilled, your provision is secure, your relationships are whole. Do not just observe it from the outside. Step inside it. Feel the gratitude as if it has already happened. Feel the relief, the joy, the quiet confidence of a person who has arrived. Let the emotion rise and fill your chest. This is not fantasy. This is programming. Napoleon Hill taught that the subconscious cannot distinguish between an experience that is real and one that is vividly imagined with emotion. When you hold this scene with feeling, your subconscious receives it as an instruction, as a target, as a standing order to organize your life toward. The clearer the image and the stronger the emotion, the more powerful the instruction. The scriptures hinted at this same power when they spoke of writing the vision down and making it plain, so that the one who reads it may run with it. The vision must be made clear first. It must be focused, defined, held before the eyes of the heart. A blurry vision produces a wandering life. A vivid, focused vision produces a directed one. So make your vision plain. Return to it daily. Let it become so familiar in your mind that it feels less like a dream and more like a memory of something that has not happened yet. This is how the focused mind builds the future. It does not wait for the future to arrive. It rehearses it until it becomes inevitable. If this practice is stirring something in you, if you can feel the difference between drifting through life and directing it, I want you to do something. Write in the comments the one vision you are choosing to focus on. You do not have to share every detail. Just name it. Just declare it. Because the moment you put it into words and send it out, you make it more real, you commit to it more fully, and you may inspire someone reading it to finally name their own. We rise together when we declare together. Let us turn now to the discipline of attention, because vision without discipline is just daydreaming, and the world is full of dreamers who never built anything. The focused life is not built in the grand moments. It is built in the 1,000 small choices of where to place your attention, moment by moment, hour by hour, day by day. The Bible captures this in the book of Luke, where it says that the one who is faithful in little will be faithful in much. We usually apply that to money or responsibility. But it is just as true of focus. The person who cannot govern their attention for 5 minutes will never govern it for the years required to build something great. Mastery of focus begins small. It begins with reclaiming the next 5 minutes from the chaos. Napoleon Hill observed that successful people had developed the habit of concentration. He noted that the ability to fix the mind on one subject, to the exclusion of all else, was so rare and so valuable that it alone could lift an ordinary person into the ranks of the exceptional. He said most people had never trained this ability for a single hour in their entire lives, and that is precisely why most people remained ordinary, not for lack of talent, but for lack of trained focus. Think about that. The skill that could change your life is one almost no one has ever deliberately practiced, which means that simply by training your focus, you step into a small minority that the world rewards disproportionately. The focused are not competing with the masses. The masses cannot hold their attention long enough to compete. So how do you train it? You train it the way you train anything, through deliberate, repeated practice. You begin by choosing one task and giving it your complete, undivided attention for a set period, refusing to let your mind wander. When it wanders, and it will, you gently bring it back. Each time you bring it back, you strengthen the muscle. This is not glamorous. It is the daily discipline of a person building something the impatient will never have. And here is where faith and focus reinforce each other beautifully. Prayer, at its deepest, is trained focus. It is the deliberate fixing of your attention on God, on gratitude, on your aim, on the unseen reality you are calling into being. The person who prays with focus is exercising the same mental muscle that builds every other area of life. This is why the most accomplished people throughout history were so often people of deep, focused devotion. Their spiritual practice was also, without their knowing it, the finest training of attention ever devised. Let me give you a reflection that may sting a little, but a good kind of sting. Count, if you can, how many times today your attention was hijacked. How many times you picked up your phone without deciding to. How many times your mind drifted into worry without your permission. How many times you started one thing and abandoned it for another. Now imagine that energy, all of it, gathered and pointed at your one definite aim. Imagine the magnifying glass repaired, the scattered light focused, the fire finally catching. That is not a fantasy. That is simply what becomes available the moment you reclaim your attention. There is a quiet revolution waiting for you in this. The world is louder than it has ever been, which means a focused mind is rarer than it has ever been, which means it is more powerful than it has ever been. In an age of distraction, the ability to focus is a superpower, and it is available to anyone willing to train it. You do not need permission. You do not need resources. You need only the decision to begin governing the one thing that has always been yours to govern, your own attention. And let me give you a practice for this that will change the texture of your days, because most people have forgotten how to do one thing at a time. They have trained themselves into a state of constant division, doing 3 things at once and none of them well. Their attention split into pieces so small that no piece carries any power. They eat while scrolling. They talk while typing. They pray while planning. And they have lost the experience of giving their whole self to one thing in a single moment, which is the very experience from which all depth and all mastery flow. So practice singleness. Choose one task and give it the whole of your attention, refusing to divide. When you eat, eat. When you work, work. When you pray, let nothing else exist. When you are with someone you love, be only there. This sounds simple, almost too simple to matter, but it is among the most difficult and most transforming disciplines a modern person can take on. Each time you bring your full undivided attention to a single thing, you are rebuilding the muscle that the scattered world has wasted away in you. You are repairing the shattered lens piece by piece until it can focus light into fire again. The Bible captured the heart of this when Martha was anxious and troubled about many things, scattered across 100 concerns, while her sister Mary chose one thing, to sit and give her full attention to what mattered most. And the lesson was that only one thing was truly needed, and that the one who chose it had chosen the better part. There is a kind of holiness in singleness of focus. There is a strength in it that the divided will never know. The world will always tempt you to be Martha, troubled about many things. The anchored mind chooses again and again the one thing that matters and gives it everything. Now let us speak about the role of belief in who you are, because focus and faith finally rest on identity. The Bible says, we are fearfully and wonderfully made. It says, we are created in the image of the Creator. It tells us, in the words of Jesus, that the kingdom of God is within us. Read that. Within us, the very power to create, the spark of the divine, the capacity to shape reality through focused thought and faith, was placed inside you from the beginning. You were not made to drift. You were made to direct. But most people carry a hidden belief that contradicts this entirely. Deep in the soil of their subconscious is a quiet conviction that they are not capable, not worthy, not the kind of person for whom things work out. And that buried belief acts like a thermostat. No matter how hard they work on the surface, the thermostat keeps resetting their life back to the temperature of their self-image. They break through, then sabotage. They rise, then pull themselves back down to the level they secretly believe they belong at. Napoleon Hill named this with piercing clarity. He said that the only limitations a person truly has are the ones they accept in their own mind. He said a person can rise no higher than their dominant beliefs about themselves will permit. You can want success consciously with all your heart, but if your subconscious self-image is set to lack, your subconscious will quietly steer you back to lack every time, like a thermostat correcting the room. This is why so many people who do everything right still fail to rise. The problem was never the strategy. The problem was the self-image, the silent belief about who they are and what they deserve, sitting beneath all their effort, undoing it in the dark. And no amount of effort can outrun a self-image set against you. You must change the thermostat itself. How? The same way the subconscious is always changed. Through focused, repeated, emotionally charged input, planted deliberately in the soil of the mind, especially in the receptive moments before sleep. You must, with discipline, replace the old self-image with a new one. You must focus again and again on who you are choosing to become until your subconscious accepts the new identity as truth and resets the thermostat upward. The scriptures gave us the practice long ago. They told us to call those things that are not as though they were, to speak of the unseen as if it were already so. This is not lying, it is faith. It is planting the new identity in the subconscious before the eyes can confirm it, so that the subconscious can begin the work of making it real. When God renamed people in the Bible, He often named them according to who they would become, not who they were, because He understood that identity precedes manifestation. So here is a practice for your identity, and I want you to take it seriously. Choose the identity statements that describe who you are becoming, and declare them daily with feeling, especially at night. I am focused. I am disciplined. I am worthy of the life God placed in my heart. I finish what I begin. I am the kind of person opportunity finds. Say these not as wishes, but as declarations of a truth you are choosing to install. Feel them as you say them. Let the emotion carry them deep, and watch what happens over time. The thermostat begins to rise. The self-sabotage begins to loosen its grip. You begin to feel in your bones that you belong at a higher level, and your subconscious begins steering you there instead of away. This is the deepest work of all, because everything external is downstream of who you believe you are. Take a breath here and reflect. What is the silent belief about yourself that has been running your life from beneath the surface? Do not judge it. Just notice it. Because the moment you bring it into the light of awareness, it begins to lose its automatic power, and you regain the ability to choose a new one. And there is one more force shaping that silent belief, one you must reckon with, because it works on you whether you acknowledge it or not. It is the people around you and the environment you live in. Your focus is not formed in isolation. It is shaped every day by what surrounds you. The conversations you sit in, the voices you listen to, the atmosphere of the rooms you spend your hours in. Slowly and visibly, these things install their own thoughts in your subconscious, and you begin to focus on what they focus on, fear what they fear, expect what they expect. The Bible warns of this with great seriousness. It says that bad company corrupts good character, and that the one who walks with the wise becomes wise, but the companion of fools suffers harm. It speaks of the blessed person as the one who does not walk in the counsel of the ungodly, nor stand in the way of sinners, nor sit in the seat of the scornful. Notice the progression. Walk, then stand, then sit. We drift into the influence of the wrong environment by degrees, until we are seated comfortably in the very atmosphere that is poisoning our focus, no longer even aware of how far we have settled in. Napoleon Hill made this one of the pillars of his entire philosophy. He insisted that you become like the people you associate with most, that their attitudes seep into you, that their level of ambition or defeat sets the ceiling of your own. He went so far as to advise the deliberate building of what he called a mastermind, a circle of minds focused in the same direction, lifting one another because he knew that no one holds their focus in a vacuum. We are shaped by the field we stand in, and if we do not choose that field deliberately, it chooses us. So examine your environment with honest eyes. Who are the voices closest to your ear? Do they water the seed of your purpose, or do they trample it? Do they expand your focus toward what is possible, or shrink it toward what they have given up on? You may not be able to change every relationship overnight, but you can choose starting now to add new voices, to seek out the company of those who think the way you long to think, to fill your hours with words and influences that lift the ceiling rather than lower it. Guard your environment as carefully as you guard your own thoughts, because your environment is quietly writing on the walls of your mind every single day. If you have made it this far, something in you is serious about change, and I want to honor that. If this message is meeting you where you are, consider subscribing to this channel. Not as a casual click, but as a marker, a small declaration to yourself that you are choosing the path of the focused, the faithful, the deliberate. Every person who joins is one more soul choosing to direct their life instead of drift through it, and there is a strength in walking this path alongside others who have chosen the same. Let us talk now about persistence, Because focus over time has a name, and that name is persistence. Anyone can focus for a day. Anyone can have a burst of inspiration. But the life you are dreaming of is not built in a day or a burst. It is built in the long, quiet faithfulness of returning your focus to the same aim day after day, long after the initial excitement has faded, long after the easy motivation is gone. The Bible honors this in the book of Galatians, telling us not to grow weary in doing good, for in due season we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. Notice the condition: if we do not give up. The harvest is promised, but it is tied to the refusal to quit. In due season. The timing is not ours to control. Our only job is to keep our focus steady through the season of waiting, when nothing visible is happening, when the ground still looks empty. Napoleon Hill found that persistence was the single quality that separated those who succeeded from those who failed. More than talent, more than education, more than opportunity. He observed that the majority of people gave up at the first sign of difficulty, often within sight of the very breakthrough they were seeking, never knowing how close they had come. He told the story of a man who dug for gold, struck a vein, then hit a dry patch and quit in despair, selling his equipment to a junk man. The junk man, called an expert, dug just 3 feet further than the original man had stopped and struck one of the richest veins in the region. 3 feet. The first man quit 3 feet from gold. How many people are quitting 3 feet from their gold? How many abandon their focus right before the harvest because the season of waiting felt too long, because the ground still looked empty, because their persistence ran out exactly when the breakthrough was about to break? The difference was not the gold. The gold was there for both men. The difference was who held their focus 3 feet longer. This is why persistence is really a spiritual quality before it is a practical one. It requires faith to keep digging when you see no gold. It requires you to hold your focus on the unseen harvest through the long stretch when the seen offers no encouragement. The person who can do this, who can keep their attention anchored through the dry season, is the person who eventually reaps what the quitters left behind. And here is the secret that makes persistence possible. You cannot persist on willpower alone, because willpower runs out. You persist on belief. When your subconscious is truly convinced that the harvest is coming, persistence stops being a struggle and becomes natural, the way it is natural to keep walking toward home even when home is not yet in sight. This is why the inner work matters so much. The right belief makes the right persistence effortless. The wrong belief makes it impossible. So let this be a reflection that strengthens you. Think of the dry seasons you have already survived. Think of the times you wanted to quit and did not, and what came afterward. You have persisted before. You have held your focus through difficulty before. The capacity is already in you, proven by your own history. The question is only whether you will summon it again for the aim that matters most to you now. Let me give you a ritual for persistence, a nightly practice that Napoleon Hill considered essential. Each night before you sleep, return to your one definite aim. See it as accomplished. Feel the gratitude as if it were already done. And then, with quiet conviction, affirm your persistence itself. Say to yourself, I do not quit. I hold my focus. I am the kind of person who digs 3 feet further. I keep my eyes on the harvest even when the ground is bare. This nightly return does something powerful. It prevents the slow erosion of focus that destroys most dreams. Because dreams rarely die in a single dramatic moment. They die slowly by neglect, as focus drifts a little each day until one day you realize you have stopped thinking about the thing entirely. The nightly ritual is the guard against that drift. It is the daily watering that keeps the seed alive through the long underground season. And I want you to grasp the rhythm of this, because the focused life has a daily shape, a rhythm that, once established, runs almost on its own. It begins in the morning, in those first soft minutes, when you set your focus before the world can set it for you. It continues through the day, as you guard the gate, turn away the thieves, and return your wandering attention gently to your aim each time it drifts. And it closes at night in the receptive moments before sleep, when you plant the day's final seed in the most fertile soil your mind will offer. Morning, midday, and night. A rhythm of focus that bookends and fills your hours, so that your attention is no longer scattered to the winds, but gathered again and again toward the one thing. This is what the scriptures meant when they spoke of meditating on the truth day and night, of the law being on your lips when you rise and when you lie down, when you walk by the way, and when you sit in your house. It was never meant to be an occasional event. It was meant to be a rhythm, a continuous returning, a focus woven through the entire fabric of the day. The people who built great lives were not those who focused intensely once and then forgot. They were those who established a rhythm of focus so consistent that it became who they were. And here is the secret of why this works, the principle that the impatient never learn. It is the principle of compounding. A single day of focus changes almost nothing. You will not see the harvest tomorrow. But focus is not paid out daily. It is paid out in compound. Each focused day adds to the last, the seeds accumulating in the soil, the new self-image deepening, the filter sharpening, the path clearing, until a threshold is crossed and what looked like nothing for so long suddenly breaks the surface all at once. The world will call it luck, or a sudden break, or an overnight success, but you will know it was the quiet compounding of 1,000 focused days that no one saw. Napoleon Hill described this as the moment the accumulated impressions reach critical mass and the subconscious begins to act with full force. He warned that most people abandon the process precisely during the long stretch when the compounding is happening invisibly beneath the surface, showing no outward sign. They mistake the silence for failure and quit, never knowing they were one season away from the breaking through of everything they had planted. The compounding was working the whole time. They simply could not see it, and they did not have the faith to keep their focus steady through the unseen accumulation. So trust the rhythm even when you see nothing. Plant in the morning, guard through the day, water at night, and let the days compound in the dark, the way a seed gathers everything it needs underground long before a single green shoot appears above the soil. The harvest is never a reward for the final day of focus. It is the sum of all the days, accumulated and held until the season was right. Keep the rhythm, and the compounding will do what no single dramatic effort ever could. There is a deep peace available to the persistent mind, and I want you to understand it. But before we reach that peace, we must confront the two great thieves that rob persistence of its power, because they will visit you, and you must know how to answer them. The first is fear. The second is doubt, and together they have buried more dreams than failure ever has, because failure at least requires you to try, while fear and doubt destroy the dream before the trying even begins. Fear is focus pointed at the worst possible outcome. That is all it is. Fear takes your magnificent power of imagination, the same power meant to build your vision, and turns it backward, fixing it on the disaster you do not want. And because the subconscious responds to vivid emotional focus, regardless of whether you want the thing or dread it, fear becomes one of the most powerful creative forces in existence, helping to create the very thing you are trying to avoid. The man in the Bible named Job said it with haunting clarity. He said, "The thing I greatly feared has come upon me." He had focused on it, rehearsed it, fed it with emotion, and his focus, turned toward the feared thing, helped to summon it. This is why the most repeated command in all of Scripture is fear not. It appears again and again more than any other instruction, because the one who made the mind understood how dangerous misdirected focus is. Fear not is not merely comfort, it is strategy. It is the command to stop pointing your creative attention at the disaster and turn it back toward the promise. The answer to fear is never an empty mind. The answer to fear is refocused attention. Napoleon Hill devoted enormous study to what he called the ghosts of fear, the recurring dreads that haunt the human mind, the fear of poverty, the fear of criticism, the fear of failure, the fear of loss. He found that these fears were nothing more than states of mind, and that states of mind can be controlled and directed. He insisted that fear could be mastered the same way any thought is mastered, by refusing it entry, by replacing it the moment it appears, by training the mind to turn from it toward faith. The fear is not the problem. The continued focus on the fear is the problem, and the focus is yours to redirect. Doubt is fear's quieter cousin. Doubt does not scream. It whispers. It does not paint disasters. It simply asks again and again, are you sure? Who are you to do this? What if it does not work? And each whisper splits your focus a little more until the lens that should have been pointed at your aim is fractured into a dozen anxious questions. Doubt is the dividing of the mind, and we already saw what the scriptures say of the divided mind. It is unstable in all its ways. It cannot receive because it cannot hold its gaze. The answer to both is the same, and it is the whole theme of this journey. You do not defeat fear and doubt by struggling against them directly. You cannot empty your mind of a thought by force. You answer them by redirecting your focus, by deliberately and repeatedly filling your attention with the vision, the truth, the promise, the aim, until there is no room left for the thief. Light is not the absence of darkness fought into submission. Light simply enters, and the darkness has nowhere to remain. Fill your focus with faith, and fear loses its seat. Fill it with certainty, and doubt has nothing to hold. So when fear visits you, and it will, do not panic that you feel it. Feeling fear is human. Letting it command your focus is the only real danger. Notice it, name it, and then turn. Turn your attention back to the vision. Turn it back to the promise. Turn it back to the one who said, "Fear not." Persistence is not the absence of fear. Persistence is the discipline of keeping your focus on the aim while the fear rages, refusing to let it take the wheel. The persistent person is not fearless. The persistent person is simply focused on something stronger than their fear. When you have truly committed your focus to your aim and surrendered the timing to God, a strange calm settles over you. You stop being anxious about results because you trust the harvest is coming in its season. You simply keep planting, keep watering, keep your focus steady, and let the increase come when it comes. The scriptures call this the peace that surpasses understanding, and it is the natural state of a mind that is focused on its aim and at rest about its timing. This is the opposite of the frantic striving the world teaches. The world says struggle harder, push more, force it into being through sheer effort and anxiety. But the anchored mind has discovered something better. It works with focus and faith instead of fear and force. It plants with confidence and waits with peace. And it consistently outperforms the frantic, because the frantic burn out while the anchored endure. Let us bring this toward a close. But first, one more layer, the most important one. Because all of this without it is just self-improvement. And you were made for something deeper than self-improvement. The deepest focus, the most powerful aim, is the one aligned with your purpose, with the reason you were placed here, with the calling that God planted in you before you ever drew breath. The Bible tells us in the book of Jeremiah that God knows the plans He has for us, plans to prosper and not to harm, plans to give us a future and a hope. There is a plan. There is a design. You are not a random accident drifting through a meaningless universe. You were made on purpose for a purpose, and the deepest restlessness you feel is the pull of that purpose calling you to focus your life upon it. When your focus aligns with your true purpose, something extraordinary happens. The struggle that comes from pushing against your own design disappears. You stop swimming against the current of your own life. The energy you spent fighting yourself is suddenly freed, and it pours into your aim like a river finally allowed to flow downhill. This is why purpose feels like power. It is the alignment of your focus with the very reason you exist. Napoleon Hill, after all his study of wealth and achievement, came to a conclusion that surprised many of his readers. He concluded that the highest success came not from chasing money, but from finding your definite purpose, the work you were made to do, and then organizing your entire focus around it. The money, the success, the fulfillment, all of it followed as a byproduct of a life focused on its true purpose. He had discovered, through decades of study, what the scriptures had said all along. Seek first the kingdom, and all these things will be added to you. Seek first. There is the order again. First the focus on the highest aim, then the addition of everything else. The world reverses it. The world says seek the things first, the money, the status, the comfort, and maybe purpose later if there is time. But that reversal is why so many achieve the things and still feel empty. They focused on the byproduct and missed the purpose, and the byproduct alone could never fill the space that purpose was meant to fill. So here is the deepest reflection of all, and I want you to sit with it long after this ends. What were you made for? Not what would impress people, not what would make the most money. What is the work, the contribution, the way of being that you suspect somewhere deep down you were placed here to bring into the world? Because when you find that and focus your life upon it, you stop chasing success. Success begins chasing you because you have finally become the person it was always looking for. And here is a warning wrapped inside this truth, because misplaced focus is not a small mistake. It is, in the language of the scriptures, the very thing the ancient writers called idolatry. An idol at its heart is simply something that captures the focus that was meant for higher things. It need not be a statue. In our time, the idols are subtler. They are the endless scroll, the comparison with strangers, the worship of approval, the obsession with what others have, the constant hum of noise we pour into our minds to avoid the silence in which our real purpose speaks. Whatever holds your dominant focus has become functionally the thing you serve. And many people serve 1,000 small idols of distraction without ever choosing to, simply because they never decided where their focus would go, and so it scattered toward whatever shouted loudest. The first and greatest commandment addresses exactly this. It calls us to love God with the whole of our being, with undivided focus, because the one who made us knew that a divided focus is the root of every misery. When your highest focus is fixed on your true purpose and the one who gave it, everything beneath it falls into right order. But when lesser things capture the highest place in your attention, your whole inner world falls into disorder, and the disorder spreads outward into every part of your life. This is why the focused life is not merely effective, it is a kind of worship. It is the right ordering of your attention around what truly matters, and everything good flows from that ordering. Napoleon Hill, though he wrote of money and achievement, arrived at a strikingly spiritual conclusion in his final reflections. He came to believe that the highest law of the mind was the law of harmonious focus, the alignment of one's thoughts, emotions, and actions around a single worthy purpose in harmony with what he called infinite intelligence. He had spent a lifetime studying how to get, and concluded that the deepest power came not from getting, but from aligning, not from chasing, but from becoming, not from scattering one's grasp across many things, but from focusing one's whole being on the one thing it was made for. He had circled by a long road of study back to the wisdom the scriptures held all along. So examine the idols of your attention with honest courage. What has been quietly capturing the focus that was meant for your purpose? What lesser thing has climbed into the highest seat of your mind and made itself the thing you serve without your ever deciding it should? You do not have to hate these things or pretend they have no place. You simply have to take back the throne, to restore your highest focus to the highest aim, and let everything else fall back into its proper, lesser order beneath it. This is the great reordering, and it is the doorway into the life you were made for. This is the meaning hidden in the very title of this journey. Focus on this, and success follows. Not the success the world sells, the hollow kind that leaves you emptier than before, but the deep success of a life aligned, a mind focused, a purpose fulfilled, a soul at peace, because it is finally doing what it was made to do. Master your mind and you achieve more, not just more things, but more meaning, more peace, more of the life you were created to live. Let me bring together everything we have walked through, because the pieces form a single, unbreakable truth. Your life is built first in your mind. As you think in your heart, so you become. What you focus on, you give to your subconscious as a blueprint, and your subconscious builds your outer world to match. Guard the gate of your attention, because whatever enters the soil grows into your tomorrow. Plant deliberately, with focus and faith and feeling, especially in the quiet moments before sleep. Hold your focus steady through the dry seasons, persisting 3 feet past where others quit. Change the self-image beneath it all, so the thermostat of your life rises instead of resetting you back to lack. And anchor it all in your true purpose, the reason you were made, so that your focus aligns with the current of your own design. Do this, and you will not have to chase your life. Your life will rise to meet you, because you do not attract what you chase, you attract what you become. and you become what you focus on repeatedly with faith until the unseen becomes the seen and the dream becomes the daily. I asked you a question at the very beginning, and I told you it would return. What have you been giving your focus to every single day without even realizing it? Now you can answer it differently than you would have an hour ago. Now you know that the answer to that question is the answer to your entire life. And now you know that you hold the power to change the answer. Starting tonight, starting with the next thought you choose to water and the next one you choose to turn away at the gate. The force I named at the start, the anchored mind, the silent power that decides who rises and who strains in vain, is not something you have to find. It is something you build, one focused thought at a time, one faithful night at a time, one persistent day at a time, until the scattered light becomes a fire that nothing in this world can put out. You were not made to drift. You were made to direct. You were not made to scatter your light across 1,000 worries. You were made to focus it until it burns. The same power that spoke the universe into being placed a spark of itself inside you, the power to create your life through focused thought and unwavering faith. It has been waiting in you the whole time. Tonight, you begin to use it on purpose. If this journey gave you something real, if you feel different than when you began, do 3 things before you go, not for me, but as a way of sealing what was awakened in you tonight. Tap the like button so this message can find others who are searching for these same words and do not yet know they exist. Subscribe to this channel as a marker that you are choosing the path of the focused and the faithful, and that you want more of what strengthens you. And write in the comments the words, "I focus and success follows." Write them as a declaration, a seed planted in soil you cannot see, a signal to your own subconscious that a new era has begun. Because the dream you have been carrying was never too big. Your focus was just too scattered. Gather it now, point it at your purpose, anchor it in faith, and refuse to quit 3 feet from the gold. The harvest is already in the seed, the success is already in the focus, and the future you were made for is already reaching back toward the person you are choosing right now to become. Focus on this, and watch what follows.